We continue our conversation with semi-retired NASCAR race driver Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the man who helped treat his concussions, Dr. Micky Collins. The symptoms from those concussions affected Earnhardt so badly he stepped back from racing, a sport dominated by the family name. His grandfather, Ralph Earnhardt, his father, Dale Earnhardt, his half-brother, Kerry Earnhardt.
Dale Earnhardt Sr. was killed in a crash while racing in the Daytona 500 in 2001. It's a race that Dale Earnhardt Jr. actually finished in second place. We talked with Jr. about the legacy of the name, whether there is one race he would do over, and the message of concussions he's working to share with Dr. Micky Collins and through his book, Racing to the Finish.
The symptoms were so unique. I never thought concussion, I never thought head injury. I just didn't know what they were. I didn't even know how to really articulate it to someone.
Well, it's something a lot of people don't think about in racing. And Micky, this is something you deal with on a regular basis, but we think football, we think hockey. Is it difficult to spread the message about concussions in the sport of racing?
I think Dale's done a good job of that. I mean, so many people look up to Dale. He's a leader. And him going through this, I know I've seen a lot more racers because of it. And I think a lot of them realize that, you know, if we can catch this early and it doesn't accumulate, it's a lot easier to treat. And it's not just his sport that Dale has benefited. It's really a lot of athletes and a lot of patients that aren't athletes that go through this that struggle. And his book has really opened up a lot of eyes, and people that wouldn't have gotten treatment are getting treatment, and I have a lot of respect for that.
People, you know, are asking me all the time, like, why are you so forward and forthcoming with all this information? Well, it's so easy at 43 years old. My career's behind me, most of it anyways, if not all of it. It was so easy to say, hey, I want to make sure I'm okay. So I think when we think about how to target people or where we need to focus, it's not necessarily in this sport or this profession. It's basically more age groups, like getting the information to younger people, high school kids and their trainers and coaches, and even the younger drivers or younger athletes in their 20s that are just now trying to find some success at the professional level.
If your daughter one day comes to you and says, I want to get into this sport, what's your advice, or what goes through your mind with that?
You know, I think that it's challenging for her, but not because of what I went through. It's challenging for her because her lineage, not only my success, but her grandfather's success, and our you know, there'll be a lot of expectations placed on her, and she's a female, and it's difficult for females in our sport to acquire, you know, the same sort of resources and opportunities as males do. It's been difficult for them to break through. I watched my sister face those same challenges when she tried to compete. I worked with Danica Patrick for a while and raced against her as well, and saw how challenging that was for her to compete. And so as you know, as the years go by, it seems to become a little more inclusive, but I still feel like that it'd be a difficult thing for her to try to achieve. With that said, whatever she says she wants to do, you know, I'm going to want to help her do that. I would never try to convince her otherwise. You know, whatever her love is or passion is, I want to help her. You know, I want to help her be the happiest she can be, you know, with whatever that is.
You talked about your dad's legacy, your legacy. When people hear the Earnhardt name, what do you want them to remember?
For my father, you know, I want them to remember his impact on the sport and what he did to make the sport better. And, you know, I love for people to remember the wins, the trophies, the accomplishments, but it's really more important about the man he was and how they loved him for who he was, not what he did. It was great that he was good, but I think who he was as a person is so incredible. So I feel the same way. If people are going to remember anything about me, I hope it's about who I was as a person, and I had some success, but it mattered more to me that I was good, and people enjoyed being around me, and people enjoyed working with me, and that I was an asset to the teams I was a part of, and good to people. You know, I've been a driver, I've been an employee, I've been an employer, and a boss to many people in several instances, and I hope that I did them a good service.
If you could go back and do one race over again, is there one? That's another loaded question.
I think I would go back to when we won the All-Star race in 2000. I was a rookie, and we were in the All-Star race racing with these guys. I was racing against my dad and also all the other guys that he raced against, another generation above me, people that I'd looked up to all my life. I was in a race that's an invitation race, and I was amazed to even be in it. It never crossed my mind that I might win that race. It was just the biggest my imagination could get was, I can't believe I'm just here competing with them. This is crazy. I'm in here, you know. And we ended up winning the race and celebrating with my dad in Victory Lane, and I think I would love to go do that one more time. I'm sure there's some races I wish I could have back that I could try to win that I didn't win, or some close finishes that maybe I'd try to do something different, but I'd rather enjoy that celebration one more time, you know, because that was I don't remember whether I got to ask Dad all the questions I wanted to ask him in that moment, you know, because we were all happy and hugging and excited, but I never got to ask him, you know, what's this mean to you as a dad? What does this mean to you as a car owner? And how does this make you feel seeing me successful? And all those questions that I thought I was going to have the rest of my life to ask.
He was right on it with that answer too. I thought that would be a tough one to answer, but it clearly was not. Yeah.
It's really moving to hear him tell the story and then just go back to that photo, which is clearly worth 1,000 words, but his words are also part of the story, and it's got a wallop when you hear that.
Yeah, yeah. Our thanks to the University of Southern Maine, by the way, for setting up that interview. Earnhardt and Dr. Micky Collins were there for a talk on concussions.
And if you missed the first part of our conversation, in which we talked more about the symptoms that Earnhardt had experienced from concussions, just head to the 207 section of our website or mobile app to watch that part.